She arrived in Hollywood with nothing but audacity and a fabricated past, yet within months became the highest-paid actress in America. Pola Negri didn't just become a star, she literally invented what it meant to be one. But her meteoric rise came with a price that would eventually destroy everything she'd built, leaving behind one of Hollywood's most haunting mysteries about fame, obsession, and the cost of living a lie. Barbara Apollonia Chaplin was born into absolute poverty in Russian-occupied Poland on January 3, 1897, though she would later claim December 31, 1899, the last child born in the 19th century, because even her birth date became part of her carefully constructed mythology. Her childhood reads like something from a Dickens novel. Her father, a Romanian Slovak tinsmith and revolutionary, was arrested by Russian authorities and shipped off to a Siberian prison when she was just a child. He never returned. Left destitute, her mother worked as a cook while they lived in the worst part of Warsaw. But young Barbara possessed something extraordinary, an otherworldly beauty and an iron determination to escape her circumstances. She clawed her way into the Imperial Ballet School, performing in Swan Lake and achieving solo roles that seemed to promise a future. Then tuberculosis struck, forcing her into a 3-month sanatorium stay that shattered her dancing dreams forever. This devastating setback became her salvation. During her recovery, she discovered the works of Italian poet Ada Negri and reinvented herself completely. Barbara became Pola Negri, a name that would soon electrify Europe. By 1917, she'd conquered the German film industry alongside director Ernst Lubitsch, creating movies that scandalized and mesmerized audiences across the continent. When Pola stepped off the ship in New York Harbor in September 1922, she didn't just arrive in America, she imported an entirely new concept of what a movie star could be. Paramount had offered her an unprecedented $3,000 per week, making her the first European actress ever signed to a major Hollywood contract. But it wasn't just her salary that was revolutionary, it was her approach to fame itself. While American actresses maintained modest, wholesome images, Pola unleashed something the world had never seen. She drove through Beverly Hills in a white Rolls-Royce upholstered in velvet, accompanied by 2 Russian wolfhounds and a chauffeur in matching white livery. She scattered orchid petals on her dressing room floor daily and popularized painting toenails fire engine red, a trend that scandalized conservative America but became a lasting fashion statement. Most shocking of all, she paraded a pet tiger down Sunset Boulevard on a diamond-studded leash. Fan magazines called her a magnificent wildcat and an exotic sorceress, but they had no idea how calculated every outrageous moment truly was. Pola understood that in the new world of mass media, being talked about mattered more than being liked. Her first major Hollywood romance became a masterclass in publicity manipulation. Charlie Chaplin, already the world's most famous comedian, fell hard for the mysterious Polish enchantress. Their relationship dominated headlines for months, with newspapers breathlessly reporting their engagement under the banner "The Queen of Tragedy to wed the King of Comedy." But behind the glamorous facade, the relationship was imploding. Chaplin, despite his fame, was notoriously tight with money. When he confessed he couldn't afford to marry her in the style she demanded, Pola ended their engagement publicly and brutally. Years later, in her autobiography, she would describe him with cutting honesty, revealing intimate details about their relationship that destroyed the comedian's carefully maintained public image. The breakup became Hollywood's first real celebrity scandal, establishing the template for every messy star relationship that would follow. Pola had accidentally created the blueprint for modern celebrity culture, where private pain became public entertainment and personal relationships were just another form of performance art. In early 1926, Pola met Rudolph Valentino at a costume party hosted by media mogul William Randolph Hearst. The chemistry was instant and explosive. Both were exotic foreigners who'd conquered Hollywood through sheer force of personality, and their romance became the most covered celebrity relationship of the decade. They were photographed everywhere, their every gesture analyzed by an obsessed press. But Valentino was already past his prime, struggling with failed films and mounting debts. When he suddenly collapsed in August 1926 and died from complications of a perforated ulcer at just 31, Pola's reaction would define the rest of her life and nearly end her career. She rushed from Los Angeles to New York for his funeral, but what happened next shocked even scandal-hardened Hollywood. Draped in flowing black veils and accompanied by a press agent, Pola threw herself dramatically onto Valentino's open casket, sobbing and fainting repeatedly for the cameras. She ordered $2,000 worth of red roses with Pola spelled out in white flowers in the center. Most controversially, she claimed they'd been secretly engaged, though no evidence supported this. The American public turned on her almost instantly. What she'd intended as the ultimate expression of grief, they saw as the ultimate expression of narcissism. The woman who taught America how to be famous had finally gone too far. Her over-the-top mourning violated every rule of proper American behavior, and the backlash was swift and merciless. Making matters infinitely worse, just 8 months after Valentino's death, Pola married Georgian self-proclaimed prince Serge Midwani in a lavish ceremony. The American press and public felt betrayed and disgusted. How could the grieving widow move on so quickly? Box office receipts for her films plummeted, and Paramount began offering her increasingly inferior roles.
The marriage itself was a disaster. Midwani was gambling away her fortune on questionable business ventures, while she suffered a devastating miscarriage, a loss she would grieve for the rest of her life. By 1929, her personal wealth was estimated at $5 million, but the stock market crash wiped out most of her investments. When they divorced in 1931, Pola's golden age was definitively over. With Hollywood no longer interested, Pola returned to Europe and rebuilt her career in Germany during the rise of the Third Reich. Her 1935 film Mazurka became such a massive hit that Adolf Hitler himself declared it his favorite movie and proclaimed Pola his favorite actress. This endorsement, which should have been career gold, instead became a curse that would haunt her for decades. Rumors immediately began circulating that she was having an affair with the German leader. While completely false, Pola successfully sued French magazines for libel over these claims. The mere association with Hitler destroyed any chance of a Hollywood comeback. When World War II erupted, she fled Nazi-occupied Europe and arrived in New York as a refugee, her reputation in tatters. American authorities initially treated her with suspicion due to the Hitler rumors. The woman who'd once been Hollywood royalty now found herself questioned like a potential enemy agent. She cleared her name eventually, but the damage was irreversible. Pola's last decades were spent in self-imposed exile in San Antonio, Texas, living with oil heiress Margaret West in what many speculated was a romantic relationship. She made only 2 more films, a small comedy in 1943 and Disney's The Moonspinners in 1964, where she once again appeared with the cheetah, generating one last burst of nostalgic publicity. In 1970, she published her memoirs, finally revealing some truths about her extraordinary life. She admitted her birth date had been fabricated, acknowledged that much of her early biography was exaggerated, and maintained that despite all her relationships, Valentino remained the love of her life. But even in her autobiography, she kept many secrets, maintaining the air of mystery that had defined her entire existence. When she died in 1987, at age 90, the world had largely forgotten the woman who literally invented modern celebrity culture. She was buried wearing a golden chiffon dress and matching turban, glamorous and dramatic until the very end. Pola Negri's story reveals uncomfortable truths about fame, identity, and the price of reinvention. She proved that in America, you could become anyone you dared to claim to be. But maintaining that fiction required sacrificing almost everything real in your life. She created the template for modern stardom, showing future generations that controversy could be more valuable than talent, and that personal relationships were just another form of entertainment. Her tragic arc, from poverty to global fame to exile and obscurity, demonstrates how quickly the machine of celebrity can turn on those it creates. She taught America that stars could be manufactured, that personalities could be brands, and that the line between public and private life didn't have to exist. In many ways, every modern celebrity owes something to the Polish girl who arrived in Hollywood with nothing but audacity and changed everything forever. Perhaps most haunting of all, Pola spent her final decades watching a world that had forgotten her embrace the very concepts of fame she pioneered. She'd given birth to celebrity culture, only to be devoured by it. A cautionary tale about the cost of living your entire life as a performance.